New at 5, for a second time in 2 days, Chicago's mayor is addressing the firing of Chicago's top doctor. Dr. Allison Arwady says she was abruptly let go over the weekend. Here's what Mayor Brandon Johnson had to say today about the now former commissioner of the Chicago Department of Public Health.
Every single administration has to be prepared for transition. And my administration is no different in that regard. Transition is difficult for everyone. I don't know how many times you're allowed to quote Tupac in a press conference, but you can't always go by the things that you hear, right? Real eyes, right? Realize, and real lies. That's also Tupac Shakur.
Johnson did not address whether he had ever met Arwady one-on-one during her time as commissioner. Let's bring in Dick Simpson, former Chicago alderman and political science professor emeritus at the University of Illinois, Chicago.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So Dr. Arwady was at the forefront of the pandemic, one of the faces we locally saw so often, holding weekly Facebook sessions and playing a key role in policy making. So what led to her ouster?
Well, there were two things that were important in the decision, I think. One was there was a difference between Brandon Johnson and the CTU and when they should go back to school. And Dr. Arwady said that we should open the schools because the kids were losing too much. And the teachers union were saying it was too dangerous. And so that created a rift between both the CTU and Mayor Johnson and Arwady. The other thing is a difference on how to deliver mental health. In the campaign, Brandon Johnson promised to reopen the mental health centers in the different communities. Dr. Arwady had been trying to increase and did increase mental health services, but not to reopen the buildings.
So, Dick, this probably shouldn't come as a big surprise because Johnson also said during the campaign that he would not keep Arwady on. What do you make of the timing of this, though? He's been in coming up on 3 months now, and the Board of Health actually had asked the mayor to keep her on.
Well, first of all, the mayor has been fairly slow to change the cabinet, and that's actually been a good thing because it's given him time to choose who he wants for each of the key positions. But it's much slower than most mayors have done in the past. But the second thing is that it wasn't done very gracefully. He could easily have met with Arwady. They could have come to a decision to part ways. She could have been allowed to resign, as the other members of the cabinet in Lori Lightfoot's administration have begun to do in fairly quick numbers. So it was not handled well, and handling it over the weekend is usually meant to bury the story, but it didn't have that effect this time.
So you were talking about a better way to handle this, and we don't often hear a mayor quoting Tupac here, but when he talked about lies and eyes, what do you read into that?
Well, I think he has a different understanding of what happened, that he was simply acting as mayor and deciding what should be done, and that he didn't appreciate the criticism that he's been getting in the media. But I don't really know what his reference was because he didn't spell it out.
We mentioned almost 3 months in here now, Dick. What do you make of how he's done so far, the mayor, and what else is on his plate?
Well, if you were grading him, you'd say it was an incomplete, which is perfectly all right. He's done it slowly, much slower than most other mayors. Most mayors fill out their cabinet within the first month or two of being in office because they want to begin to roll out the programs on which they were elected. But he's being cautious, and we will know within 2 or 3 months what to make of his administration, because he not only has to appoint the cabinet, but he has to produce a budget. And to fulfill his promises on the social programs, he needs $800 million, and he's not going to be able to raise those taxes easily. So we'll have a good sense after the budget in October is introduced and the debate begins in the City Council.
Dick Simpson, it's good to see you. Thank you for your time.
Always good to see you.